Have you ever met someone who seemed destined for greatness? Someone with all the talent in the world, yet never quite got there? And then you've probably seen the opposite. Someone with average skills, maybe even a bit rough around the edges, yet they climb higher, move faster, and achieve more than the seemingly more gifted person. There's a reason for that. It's not always what you know, or even what you can do, it's how relentlessly you pursue it. This is the story of why your work ethic can matter more than your skill set. It's not just a motivational slogan, it's a principle that underpins real success, the kind that lasts, the kind that carries you through obstacles when talent alone isn't enough. We live in a world obsessed with talent. Everywhere you look, there are headlines praising prodigies, young geniuses, and those who seem naturally gifted. There's a quiet myth we've all absorbed. If you're talented, the doors will open. If you're not, you'll always be chasing someone else's shadow. But here's the thing, skill alone is fragile. It can be impressive, but without the drive to push it forward, it can remain dormant, unused, or underdeveloped. Imagine two people starting the same project. One has immense skill, but struggles with discipline, with focus, with showing up consistently. The other has modest abilities, but a relentless determination to learn, improve, and keep going even when progress is slow. Over time, who will achieve more? History, business, and countless personal stories suggest the answer is the latter. Skill can give you a head start, but work ethic determines how far you run. Think about it. Skill is limited by what you already know. Work ethic is limitless. Skill can plateau. Work ethic grows. One can impress in a moment, the other sustains over a lifetime. Some of the most successful people in the world weren't necessarily the most naturally talented. They were, however, the hardest workers. They weren't the ones with effortless brilliance, but the ones who refused to quit, who showed up when no one was watching, who pushed themselves past comfort, past fear, past failure. Work ethic creates momentum, builds resilience, and shapes character. It transforms potential into reality. Here's the subtle, often overlooked truth. Skills can be taught, developed, refined, and even borrowed through collaboration. Work ethic, on the other hand, is cultivated through habit, mindset, and choice. You can hire a coach, take a course, or practice diligently to improve a skill. But if you don't have the drive to commit, to grind through the challenges, to do the work consistently day after day, the skill itself can never reach its full potential. This is why people who may not be the most skilled on paper often outperform those who are. Talent is static, effort is dynamic, and in the long game of life, the dynamic force often wins. Let's explore this from a human perspective. Consider someone learning a craft, writing, coding, painting, sports, or even managing a team. Early on, they may struggle. Their output might be clumsy, awkward, imperfect. If they rely purely on skill, they might quit, thinking they lack talent. But if they rely on work ethic, they push forward. They learn from mistakes, iterate, and eventually their output surpasses the naturally talented peer who relied on instinct alone. Work ethic is about showing up consistently, especially when results are invisible. It's the quiet hours no one sees, the extra mile taken without applause, the refusal to settle for good enough. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful, and over time it compounds into results that skill alone could never achieve. Now let's pause for a moment. Imagine your life as a path through a dense forest. Skill gives you a map. Work ethic gives you the stamina to walk through the brambles, to climb the hills, to keep moving when the path is unclear. Without stamina, the map is useless. Without the map, stamina can still get you somewhere. But with both, you arrive faster, stronger, and with greater purpose. There's also an emotional dimension to work ethic. Skill can impress people, but dedication earns respect. Consistency builds trust. People notice those who persist, those who show up, those who are committed to growth. In the workplace, in relationships, in business, these qualities often matter more than raw talent. They signal reliability, resilience, and character, the kind of qualities that open doors in ways that skill alone cannot. Here's another angle. Think about learning itself. Skill without work ethic is like trying to fill a bucket with holes. You can pour knowledge in, but it leaks out if it's not anchored by persistence and discipline. Work ethic acts as the framework that holds your skills in place, enabling you to actually use them, expand them, and turn them into meaningful outcomes. It's no coincidence that many of the most admired people across history and industries often share a common story. They weren't the most talented at first glance. They didn't start at the top, but they worked. They honed, they adapted, they learned through repetition, through failure, through sheer persistence. And eventually, the difference wasn't just talent, it was endurance, determination, and relentless effort. And this is where we need to reframe what success really looks like. Many people define it as innate ability, breakthrough moments, or natural genius. But the truth is, breakthroughs rarely arrive uninvited. They are often the reward of countless invisible hours of effort, the quiet persistence that no one else sees. The skill becomes important, yes, but only because it's backed by the muscle of work ethic. Without the work, skill is potential, not achievement. Let's bring in a modern example, without pointing to any individual directly. Think about startups, small businesses, or creative careers. Some founders or creators may not have had advanced technical skills at the start. They had ideas, sure, but more importantly, they had grit. They learned what they didn't know. They persisted through setbacks, and they devoted themselves to growth. Meanwhile, equally skilled competitors without the same drive fell behind. The edge wasn't talent, it was commitment to the process, to the grind, to the long journey. Work ethic also builds something beyond skill: adaptability. Skills can become outdated, but the habit of consistent effort translates across challenges. It allows you to learn faster, pivot smarter, and endure longer. Skill without effort can leave you brittle, easily defeated by change. Work ethic creates resilience, and resilience is a superpower in any pursuit. Now, here's a secondary hook for those who may have started drifting. You might be thinking, I don't have extraordinary skills. Does that mean I'm doomed? Not at all. This is exactly the point. You don't need to be the most talented to succeed. In fact, your work ethic can make up for and even surpass the advantage of those with natural ability. It's a leveler, a great equalizer. In many cases, it's the deciding factor. When you focus on cultivating your work ethic, on showing up consistently, learning actively, and pushing through discomfort, you are setting yourself up for long-term success regardless of where you start. You are investing in a trait that compounds over time, often more reliably than innate talent ever could. There's a psychological side to this as well. Skill without effort can make you complacent. You rely on your talent, waiting for opportunities to come to you. Work ethic, by contrast, keeps you hungry. It forces you to face challenges head-on, to improve incrementally, and to embrace failure as a teacher rather than a defeat. In other words, it doesn't just get results, it shapes the person you become along the way. And that transformation is powerful. The discipline, persistence, and consistency you build through strong work ethic permeate every aspect of life. It influences relationships, personal growth, and the ability to navigate obstacles. Skill alone may help you succeed in a task. Work ethic helps you succeed in life. Now, imagine this in real-world terms. Think of a musician practicing long hours, perfecting scales, learning every nuance. Or an athlete who trains even when it's exhausting, rainy, or inconvenient. Or a writer who writes daily, not waiting for inspiration. What separates them from the person who relies purely on raw talent is invisible to most observers. The countless hours, the repetition, the effort that compounds quietly into mastery. And here's the subtle beauty of work ethic. It doesn't just help you perform, it transforms your relationship with challenges. When you cultivate it, failure doesn't feel like an endpoint, it feels like feedback. Obstacles become part of the process, not signals to give up. That mindset shift alone can dramatically increase your odds of long-term achievement, far beyond what skill alone could do. As we move toward the end, let's reflect on this. Skill will open some doors, but work ethic will keep you walking through them, even when they're heavy, stubborn, or resistant. It's the difference between a short-lived spark and a lasting flame. Talent can get attention. Work ethic earns respect, results, and legacy. So if you're asking yourself what matters more, what will carry you further in life, the answer is clear. Work ethic isn't glamorous, and it doesn't offer instant gratification, but it delivers something far more powerful: control over your progress, consistency in the face of uncertainty, and the ability to turn potential into achievement. Here's a final thought to leave with. When skill and talent are uneven, when life doesn't hand you an advantage, your work ethic is your compass. It's the quiet force that determines whether you remain stagnant or whether you rise, whether you stumble or whether you soar. And the best part, work ethic is always within your control. No one can take it from you. You can start cultivating it today, and it will pay dividends in ways skill alone never could. So as you move forward in your work, your dreams, and your ambitions, remember this: the people who make it aren't always the most naturally talented. They're the ones who refuse to quit, who grind in silence, who treat effort as a non-negotiable. Skill will get you started, but work ethic carries you to the finish line. If this resonates with you, consider making a commitment to yourself today. Decide to show up consistently, to embrace the hard work, to push through the moments where giving up feels easier. Because in the end, it's not the person with the flashiest talent who leaves a mark. It's the person who refuses to stop, who keeps moving forward when no one is watching, who transforms effort into mastery and perseverance into legacy. If you found this perspective valuable, take a moment to like this video. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your story of work ethic versus skill in your own life. And don't forget to subscribe for more insights that help you take control of your growth, one deliberate step at a time.